All right, Rebbe will say good morning. Let's begin. Today's daf is Lamed Dalet 34. We are picking up on we're really picking up on Lamed Dalet. It's the last word on Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis. The last word on 33b. Let's say our shir this morning is dedicated by Leah Sol and the Zechus of Refuah Shlema for her daughter. Ilana Bas Esther, up there in the merit of our Talmud Torah. Ilana with Kol Yisrael have a complete and enduring refuah. Plus, we also take an opportunity to wish two beautiful mazel tovs to two members of our shir, to Akiva Kent on the occasion of his wedding last night to Hillary Jacobson, Mamish Chassan, mazel tov, and I know, I got this. I got it. I promise. And to Ari Lerner on the occasion of the marriage of his daughter Shena to Gavi Serego last night. Mazel tov. We should be zochem Yeretz Hashem as individuals, as a shir, to celebrate many simchas together. What happened?
Men in tights.
Oh, the men in tight pants had a good day. Oh, good. Baruch Hashem, good. I think good. Mazel tov. Also, we're one day closer to Mashiach. When Yeretz Hashem, our eyes will be opened. We'll have priorities. We'll know what to do. We'll know what to focus on. And Yeretz Hashem, ha'er einenu b'sorosecha v'dabich libenu b'mitzvosecha. Shkach, thank you for that reminder. I appreciate it. Good. The chizuk. All right, so let's begin. Today's daf is Lamed Dalet. Last word on the line, Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. So remember again, we're trying to figure out, we read a beautiful Mishnah yesterday that spoke about the interesting case of Hashochit Behema Chayva Ovol Yotzeh Mehen Dam. So we spoke about the case of a bloodless shchita, and again, what came out from that sugya was what? Was that halacha l'maisa, if you shecht the animal and there is no blood, even if you shecht the animal with yadayim miso avos, which means hands which are tameh, the absence of blood, the absence of a liquid medium, ultimately again prevents any kind of transference of tumah to the animal. Now what we inferred from that was what? That if there is blood, and I go ahead and I touch the animal, that I do convey tumah to the animal. That's the inference. Now we are trying to figure out, so what's the case? What type of animal are we referring to over here? What type of animal are we referring to over here that I'm transferring tumah? So remember again, we already dismissed the fact it can't be referring to kadshim. Why can't it be referring to kadshim, sacrificial animals? Remember again, the Gemara gave a variety of different answers, specifically again, because you never want a case of bloodless kadshim. It defeats the purpose of kadshim where you need the blood. And more importantly, for our purposes, the Mishnah included the case of chaya. And there is no case of chaya by kadshim. So we're trying to figure out what is the circumstance? What type of animal are we dealing with over here? So we'll say one other piece that's important piece of information that's going to guide us through a lot of today as well, which is that halacha l'maisa stam yadayim are shnios. Let's say we assume that hands in general have rabbinic tumah. The status is a sheni l'tumah. So we'll say, this is very important because remember again, when we speak about transference of tumah, so usually, although we'll see an exception to some of these rules today, but usually when tumah is transferred, what happens? It is not a lateral transference, but generally when you transfer tumah, what happens? It goes down a step, goes down a level, every single stage of transference. Remember again, the last thing we ended off with was the suggestion of Rabbi Lazar in the name of Rabbi Oshia that we're dealing over here with the case of Chullin shenasu al taras hegdish. We're dealing over here with the case of Chullin, right? This is a non-consecrated animal which is being prepared in accordance with the standards of hegdish, okay? And not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yoshua. Why? Because Rabbi Yoshua held that Chullin shenasu al taras hegdish cannot become a shlishi. Our Mishnah does not subscribe to that idea, and our Mishnah holds that Chullin shenasu al taras hekdish, the Chullin can become a shlishi, which therefore means that what? I'm shechting an animal. This is a Chullin animal. I am preparing it in accordance with the standards of hekdish. My hands are a sheni, k'stamei dayim are a sheni. There's blood, liquid medium, I touch the animal becomes a shlishi. That's the last thing we ended off with. So it says the Gemara, V'lukma, top of Lamadalin, V'lukma b'chulin shenasu al taras truma of Rabbi Yoshua. So I don't understand. Why don't you set up the case as a situation of a chulin animal, which is being prepared in accordance with the standards of truma? And I will say, if you do that, then halacha l'maisa, you can set this up even in accordance with Rabbi Yoshua. So take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Bechulin shenasu al taras truma, kilomar hai ochel rishon v'sheni ushlishi diktani bechulin mayri meseches taras ube'eza ochel chulin atamotzi shlishi. So we'll say, what type of situation can you have a shlishi even by chulin? So the Gemara says, Hasheni lo avid. I'm sorry. Ve'ezer ochel chulin atamotzi shlishi. Hasheni lo avid shlishi bechulin atamotzi bechulin shenasu al taras truma. So we'll say there is a case, by the way, there is a case where even Rabbi Yoshua could get on board that by chulin a sheni could make a shlishi. What case would that be, Rabbi Osai? There would be a case ultimately again of chulin which are being prepared in accordance with the standards of truma. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yoshua, I'm sorry, b'chulin shenasu al v'lukma b'chulin shenasu al taras truma. Rabbi Yoshua, to which the Gemara says, lo sagnecha diktani basar. Bosai, remember again, what are we dealing with over here? We're dealing with meat. Diba truma, basar mi'ika. See, Bosai, here's the problem. How can you say, I understand how you could say that you could prepare chulin al taras kodesh, al taras hektish. Why, Bosai? Why? Because hektish, is that status is conferred upon an animal. So I understand again hektish, right? Kodesh, we'll say sacrificial animals. I understand you could prepare a mundane chulin animal in accordance with the standards of hektish. I will say, what does truma apply to? Truma applies to produce, right? Truma never applies to animals. So how exactly is it that you're going to go ahead and prepare a chulin animal in accordance with the standards of truma? That doesn't make sense. Elamai. So again, it says the Gemara. So what do you have to say the Mishnah is dealing with over here? Bikadshim. Both say mostly that the Mishnah is dealing with a sacrificial animal. That has to. Both say we're going back now to what we said before, that it must be at the case of the Mishnah Rabosai, where halacha lamaisa, the blood is machshir the animal lakabel tumah, and if I touch the animal with my hands, which are shnios, they transfer tumah to the animal. Must be a case of kachim. Must be a sacrificial case. This is but you can't say that. After all, chaya b'kachim mi'ika. Rabbi say, is there ever a case? Remember again, the Mishnah spoke about behema, chaya, and oath. If you want to say it's a case of kachim, behema makes sense, oath makes sense, but there's never a case of chaya. Ultimately, again by kachim. To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you, basar bebasar michlaf, basar beperi lo michlaf. See, Rabbi say, it's easy enough, even though chaya is ultimately, again, not included as a carbon, right? It's never offered as a carbon, but it is in what? It is in the general category of what we call basar. Basar, behema chaya offer all basar. So we'll say, yes, I could come up with a case of even a chaya, which is prepared al taras kodesh. Now, we'll say that is a far cry from going ahead and saying that you have an animal that's being prepared al taras truma. So we'll say truma has nothing to do with animals, and truma has everything to do with just produce. Therefore, the Gemara says, I would sooner say that the Mishnah is talking about a case of a sacrificial animal, behemas kodesh, or I should say, an animal being prepared with sacrificial sanctity. And even though chaya is never offered up as a carbon, it's in the basar category. And because it's in the basar category, we'll say, good enough, close enough. So we'll say, so now, interestingly enough, where the Gemara is ending off, not ending off because we still have a whole sugi ahead of us, where the Gemara is pausing here for just a moment, seems to be backtracking on what we said before. Already on Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph, it appeared that we were totally taking off the table the possibility that halacha l'maisa, we were dealing with a sacrificial animal. It seems we were totally taking it off the table. Now the Gemara is suggesting that no, halacha l'maisa, that is indeed the case. And even though there's chaya is in the category of basar. Even though chaya itself cannot become a sacrificial animal, it could still be prepared in accordance with sacrificial standards. Okay, Amr Ula, Chavria Amrin. So we'll say Ula said, my friends, the Chevra said something a little bit different. They said, what's the case of the Mishnah? Bechulin shena'asu al taras hekdish. No. The case of our Mishnah Bosai is a chulin animal. and the Chullin animal is being prepared in accordance with the standards of Hektish. I will say Hektish in this case means sacrificial law. Being prepared in accordance with the standards of sacrificial law. Udiloki Rabbi Yoshua. And Ula says, not reflecting the view of Rabbi Yoshua, because what does Rabbi Yoshua say? It's very important. Rabbi Yoshua holds that Chullin shenasu b'taras Hektish cannot become a shlishi. Our Mishnah does not reflect that view, and according to our Mishnah, Chullin shenasu b'taras Hektish can become a shlishi. That is why, if I shecht the Chullin animal, it's being prepared with taras hektish. My hands are what? My hands are sheni. If they then go out and touch the animal has the ability to become a shlishi. Va'ana amina, and Ula says, but I personally think, Rabbi Yeshuahi, I actually personally think that the Mishnah could subscribe to the position, or could conform with the position of Rabbi Yoshua, and I'll tell you why. For Lomi Bai Kamar, and Rabbi say, in fact, you're going to be Yoshua. Rabbi say, Lomi Bai means you could say this, you certainly don't have to say this. Lomi Bai Kamar, Lomi Bai Chullin Shnasu Ataras Kodesh Techamiri Dispo Shlishi, and Ula says, I think it's saying like this. It goes without saying that if you have Chullin prepared Ataras Kodesh, that certainly again the animal could become a Shlishi. Ela afilu Chullin shenasu al taras truma nami ispu shlishi. But say Ula comes along and delivers an incredible chiddush. Ula says it's a lomi boy. It goes without saying that what? It goes without saying that halacha l'maiso Chullin shenasu al taras kodesh certainly have the ability to become a shlishi. But not only that, even Chullin shenasu taras truma certainly could become a shlishi as well. Both say an incredible chiddush. So the Gemara says, Man Chavri. So both say, who is this? Who says this? That ultimately, again, both say, whose opinion would this be? That all these cases could become a shlishi. Chullin shenasu taras kodesh. Okay, so that already we've seen precedent for. But who's ultimately going to say that Chullin shenasu taras truma could become a shlishi as well? Man Chavri. Both say, who's the Chevra? Rabbi Barachana. It's Rabbi Barachana. Do'amar Rabbi Barachana. Am Rabbi Yochanan. My ahadri Rabbi as if Rabbi Yoshua lahadadi. Both saying Amud Beis, and I'm giving Amud Beis. You had the whole machlokes Rabbi Yoshua. What exactly did they go ahead and answer each other on their respective shitos? We'll say, look at Rashi for just a moment. Man Chavri, it's the last of the shortest lines. The sphere like the dafka naket Rabbi Yoshua Chullin shnasa taras truma. We'll say, who is the opinion who would hold? Or who's the chevra who holds that Rabbi Yoshua Bosai holds that not only do Chullin shenasu ataras kodesh, not only could that become a shlishi, but even Chullin shenasu ataras truma could become a shlishi. Bosai, who's the chevra who says that? So the Gemara says it's Rabbi Barachana, because Rabbi Barachana said as follows: My hadri belozer Rabbi Yoshua ladadi. Bosai, what did Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua respond to each other's shitos? Amrlo Rabbi Eliezer, the Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer says Rabbi Yoshua, Matzinu ochel chamer min ha'ochel. Supposed to listen to this. Now, I have to read this. Tagos v'tziyunim changes this a little bit. He says, Matzinu ochel chamar min hama'achal. We have seen that someone who eats a food that is more chamer than coming in contact with a food. Where do we see that, Rabbi? De'ilu nevelas oftar bachutz lo metame. Ve'ilu ochla metame begadim abei sabliya. Well, this is actually very interesting. If one goes ahead and touches a nevela sa'of, right, a bird carcass. So we'll say, so that does not convey tumah to one's clothing. Yet, if one consumes a nevela sa'of, then what's that lacha? It's metame megadim abei sabliya. As soon as it's in your throat, it conveys tumah ultimately again to your clothing. So you see over here a case of where consumption is more chamer than what? Is more chamer than contact. But let's say, take a look at Rashi for just a moment. It's the third intermediate line in Rashi. Matzinu sha'ochel chamer min ha'ochel, ha'adam sha'ochel ha'ma'achal, chamer min ha'ma'achal. Let's say a person who eats something is more chamer than a person who comes in contact with something. So the Gemara says, Va'anu heich lo na'ase ochel, and therefore, again, how can we not equate one who goes ahead and eats something to one who touches it? Look at Rashi. Heich lo nasa da ochel ocha rishon lo yehi rishon. But say certainly, therefore, again, one who consumes. So if we see, that consumption is more chamer than touch, right? More chamer than contact, then certainly, again, one who eats something has to become the same status of what he eats. Excuse me. So therefore, if you consume a rishon, therefore what? You become a rishon. Then Rabbi Yeshua will say, "Min nevelas oftar lo gaminan." Rabbi Yeshua will say, no. There's nothing to be learned from the case of nevelas oftar. There's nothing to be learned ultimately again of the case of contact with nevelas oftar. I'll tell you why. Tichidishu. Because I will say the reality is that is a chiddush. The fact that if you go ahead that nevelas oftar is metame begodim abeis habliya, I will say that is a novelty. That is a dramatic chiddush. Ela matzinu shama'achal chamar min ha'ochel. Rather, I will say, what do we find? We find that ultimately, again, that just the opposite. That contact with the food is in fact more chamer than consumption. Where do we see that? He goes on, he says, the Gemara says, Di'ilu ma'achal b'kebesa. Because it was like coming in contact ultimately again with the food, right? Ultimately again, food can convey, a food item could convey tumah in the shear of a beitza, an egg's volume. V'ochel, and I will say, alocha l'maisa, when it comes to achila, you're only chayiv, or I should say, it only takes effect when? Kechatzi pras. Both say like chatzi pras literally means a half of a loaf. Both say half of a loaf, Rashi points out, is how much? 2 egg volumes, right? A volume of 2 eggs. Volume of 2 eggs. Va'anu, and therefore for our purposes, heich na'ase ochel kemachol. I will say ultimately again, how can we equate consumption with eating itself? And therefore, again, Abba say he's of the opinion that even if you consume something, that does not automatically confer upon you the very tumah status of that exact item. Rabbi Eliezer will say, Tumah mishiurin lo garminon. But Rabbi Eliezer will say that halacha l'maisa, we do not learn out tumah status from the halachos of shiurim. Okay, so we'll see if we look at Rashi. Rashi says over here, it's in the widest lines, 4 lines in. Va'adam ha'ochel. Ochlin tamein eno tamei, ela imkin achal chatzi pras kidesan be'eruvin, v'chatzi chesyal so asavi ve'hein beis beitzim. So fine. Fine. So he says the Gemara. Va'od, furthermore, lidvarecha sha'ata omer al rishon sheni. Furthermore, according to your words, you said that when a person consumes a rishon, right, or touches a rishon and becomes a sheni, yafa ata omer. Ultimately, again, that makes sense. But sheni lama. But say, why would it be that if a person touches a sheni, he only becomes a sheni? Amar lo matzinu shasheni osa sheni al yedei mashkin. Because we have precedence for that. Because we see what? We see a lateral transference of tumah when it comes to tumah conferred through mashkin, through liquid. Let's say, look at Rashi. Amar lo matzinu, it's in the widest lines, 2, 4, 6, 8 lines in. Amar lo matzinu. She'ochel sheni oses chaveru sheni. We'll say we find a lateral transference of tumah. That one sheni can make another item a sheni where? Ayedei mashkin. Rashi says, Im naga ochel sheni, ba'ochel, shamashke tofeach alav. But say if you have a food item which is a sheni, and it touches another sheni food item that is wet as a result of some type of liquid, na'asu mashkin tchila. Ultimately, again, the mashkin themselves, Rabbi say, this is actually very interesting, become a rishon, kediktani va'azil, kalaposa satruma, mitame mashkin lios tchila, v'chozra mashke va'ose ha'ochel sheni. We'll say this, by the way, is an incredible case. Listen to this case. We're going to see the mechanics of this in just a moment. If you have a food item that is a sheni, and that food item touches another food item, but the second food item, we'll call it food item B, right? B has liquid on it. So A, which is what? A, which is a sheni, touches B, which is right now nothing, but B has a liquid. When A touches the liquid becomes a rishon, which then conveys tumah to food item B, making B a sheni. Incredible. So you actually have a case of a sheni making something else a rishon, which then in turn makes a second item a sheni. Finish Rashi. V'chivin ashkechon ayidei mashke the sheni osa sheni. Both say since we find in the case of a liquid medium that one sheni could ultimately make another food item a sheni. Chayim v'ashkan aydi mashke the sheni osa sheni b'shum duchta machmirin gabi adam ha'ochlo lemehave kavase dachila chamira mimaga. Therefore, both say again, ultimately again, we will see that the same will be true by a person who eats an item. Why? Because ultimately, again, as you've already shown before, achila, consumption, is more chamer than contact. So we'll say, so watch this. So the Gemara says, Amar lo matzinu shasheni osa sheni, aydi mashkin, Amar lo, v'hamashkin nami tchila havu. That's not a good case, I will say, to go ahead and tell me, see, I will say, when you say that one food item can make another food item a sheni, that is true, except for one little detail. You're leaving out a very significant piece of information. What piece of information are you leaving out, Rabosai? The presence of the liquid. In other words, when we say that one food item makes another food item a sheni, Rabosai, that is leaving out the fact that that's not really how it works. You have a food item which is a sheni, that touches a liquid, makes the liquid a rishon. The rishon then in turn makes the food item a sheni. So yes, can you say that one sheni is making another food item a sheni? You can, except it's a bit disingenuous to the tumah process. That's not really what's happening. In fact, in reality, it's not the sheni A that's making sheni B, but rather, again, it's really rishon A, i.e. the mashke, that's making the second frame. Here we go, disnan. Kala posel b'truma mitamim mashkin lihios tchila. But in reality, anything that invalidates truma, it conveys tumah to mashkin, making the mashkin ultimately again into a rishon. So as I say, anything, any type of tumah which would invalidate truma, which I will say applies to right a sheni, even a sheni letumah would invalidate truma, has the ability to make a mashkin, has the ability to make a liquid into a rishon. Chutz mitvul yom, with the exception of Tvul Yom. Remember again, Tvul Yom is a person who went to the mikvah and is waiting for Her of Shemesh, is waiting for nightfall. Vote, furthermore, Shlishi Sheni Lama. So I'll say ultimately again, furthermore, what do I need the case of? What I need the case ultimately of the Shlishi making the Sheni? Amar lo, Af ani lo amarti ela b'truma shetarasa. So we'll say, even I only said that in the case of truma, where ultimately again shetarasa, then I will say that which is tahar by truma, tuma he eitzel hekdish. Ultimately again will be tuma by cases of kodesh. So we'll say that ultimately again, which is tahar by truma, could very well still be tameh ultimately by cases of kodesh, which I will say makes sense. Why? Because halacha l'maisa, remember again, the higher your level of kedusha, the more sensitive ultimately the item to tumah. So even that which is technically tahar by truma, ultimately again could still be tameh by kodesh. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rabbi Asi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi Yanai. Ha'ochel, we'll say a couple of more halachos when it comes to tumah tara. So ha'ochel shlishi shel chulin shenasu ataras hakodesh. So listen to this. If one goes ahead and eats a shlishi, now we'll say, so watch this. So now I'm eating a shlishi of what? Chullin shenasu ataras kodesh. We'll say, so understand what this means. So what's the case of a shlishi shenasu ataras kodesh? We'll say the simplest case would actually be the case as we just described in the Mishnah, where what's happening over here, I'm shechting an animal, that's Chullin. But the way this Chullin animal is being prepared is how? It's Chullin shenasa ataras kodesh, which means the animal is being prepared in accordance with sacrifice standards. The animal bleeds, right? The blood is a liquid which makes the animal receptive to tumah. My hands are shnius, right? Shnius. Therefore, they convey tumah to the animal as a shlishi. According to everyone except Rabbi Yoshua, they convey tumah to the animal as a shlishi. So we'll say now, what's the status of that animal? That animal is now a shlishi. It's a shlishi in the world of chulin shenasu b'taras kodesh. So we'll say, so what happens if one consumes such an item? Na'aseh gufo sheni lakodesh. Ultimately, also, it's actually quite amazing. The Gemara suggests that I actually become a sheni lakodesh. Now, I'll say, even though I'm consuming an animal that is a shlishi, I ultimately again become a sheni. And I will say, now what's the logic behind that? Because remember again, like we just said before, the holier something is, the more sensitive and receptive it is to tumah. So therefore, again, even though I am a shlishi for chulin shenasu ataras kodesh, apparently says the Gemara that renders me as a sheni for kodesh itself. Eisi Rabbi Zera Rabbi Asi. So we'll say Rabbi Zera raised the kasha to Rabbi Asi. Remember again, this was Rav Asi's statement. This is Rav Asi's statement. So we'll say, so Rabbi Zera raises the kasha to Rabbi Asi. Shlishi sheni lekodesh vein sheni letruma. So we'll say, so are you telling me over here that we're talking about a case where he is that this guy who we're both, remember again, so he consumed a shlishi, to be clear, he consumed something that is a shlishi lekodesh. I'm sorry, shlishi lechulin. Remember, we're talking about a case where it's chulin shenasa ataras kodesh. I am consuming the animal. I touch the animal with my hands, which are sheni, making the animal a shlishi. I consumed the shlishi animal. Rabbi Asi said, Rabbi Zeris or Rabbi Asi said that what? That ultimately, again, I am now a sheni lekodesh. Comes on Rabbi Zera. So let me get this straight. If I consume the shlishi, that makes me a sheni lekodesh, vein sheni letruma. And I will say not a sheni for truma. In other words, I will say, so just to be clear, it's only a sheni lekodesh, but not a sheni letruma. To which the Gemara says, let's clarify the case. Bechulin shenasu al taras truma. I will say instead we must be dealing with a case of chulin that in fact is made al taras truma. In fact, again, it's not a case of chulin shenasu al taras kodesh, but rather a case of chulin shenasu al taras truma. Al taras truma in al taras hekdish lo. So now you're going to tell me that this is dafka case. This only works, meaning only when you do an animal ataras truma. That I will say when I consume the shlishi, I become a sheni lekodesh, but not if it's done ataras kodesh. Amar le lomi bai kamar. Rather, again, I will say what he answers is that halacha lemaisa lomi bai. Remember again, lomi bai is a stylistic approach that says, you can say this, and certainly you don't have to say this. So we'll say, what's the lomi bai in this case? That ultimately, again, it is pashut that chulin that were made al taras kodesh have the ability to become a shlishi, right? So we'll say the chiddush over here is that even chulin shenas al taras truma also have the ability to become a shlishi. So we'll say what the Gemara is suggesting over here is the case of chulin shenas al taras kodesh. That's the pashut case. That's the obvious case, where the object becomes a shlishi, and therefore if I consume it, I become a sheni lekodesh. The novelty is that even chulin shenas al taras truma, which become a shlishi, if I consume it, I become a sheni lekodesh. So we'll say, that's what the Gemara is holding right now. First also, we'll say, so two important pieces. Number one, that apparently where the Gemara is holding right now, although we saw all of this is subject to dispute, but at least where the Gemara is holding right now, is that Allah Lamaisa, everyone is holding, that I shouldn't say everyone, the Gemara is holding right now, that Chulin Shenas al Taras Kodesh, as well as Chulin Shenas al Taras Truma, have the ability to become a Shlishi. That's number one. We saw both of those statements are subject to dramatic dispute. But at least for now, everyone seems to agree that that is the fact. Number two is that if you consume either of these items, the shlishi, the truma, or the shlishi, the kodesh, and you go ahead and you consume it, we'll say, what does that make you? That makes you ultimately into a sheni lakodesh. So the Gemara says, Vaha, af anila amarti ela betruma kamar. But I will say, but one second, that's not what he said. He says explicitly that I only said this rule, legabe truma, to which the Gemara says, Amorai minhu, va'aliba de Rabbi Yochanan. So we'll say, you're right, this whole thing is a machlokes amoraim, in accordance with the position of Rabbi Yochanan. We'll say, look at Rashi, Amorai minhu, it's all the way on top, fourth line down from the top, last wide line, Amorai minhu, Rabbi Barachan Rabbi Asi, the less say the Rabbi Asi, hai af ani lo amarti ela betarvaihu, isel Rabbi Yoshua, Dinasa gufa sheni lakodesh. So we'll say at the end of the day, there's a machlokes amoroim. So the Gemara Rashi over here suggests that Rabbi Bachan and Rabasi, who do not hold, right, the lesser Rabbi Asi, hai afani lo amart. Rabbi Asi rejects this last statement, but rather again they hold that according to Rabbi Yeshua holds that ultimately whether you consume a shlishi of chulin shenasu b'taras kakdish or a shlishi shenasu b'taras truma, either way, if you consume that, your body, you become a sheni lakodesh. Good. Amar Ula, We'll say Ula says another halacha. Ha'ochel shlishi shel chulin shenasu al taras truma. We'll say if one goes ahead and eats a shlishi of chulin that were prepared al taras truma. So we'll say, so again, remember, just to understand the case over here. Shlishi shel chulin shenasu al taras truma. What's that case? So I'll say, so bepashtos, that's our Mishnah. I'm shechting an animal. The animal is being prepared. Al taras truma. Now we'll say, this case presupposes that what? That you could prepare an animal al taras truma. Because remember again, that was a machlokes in the Gemara. But assuming that you can do that, I could prepare an animal in accordance with the halachos of truma. And then what happens, Rabbi say? The animal bleeds, the blood is machshir lekabel tuma. I touch the animal with my hands. My hands are what? Shnios, therefore making the animal a shlishi. We'll say that is a case of ha'ochel shlishi shel chulin shenasu al taras truma. Okay, now what happens? We'll say I eat the animal. What's the halacha? Nifsal gufo milecho b'truma. So we'll say next halacha is I am not permitted to eat truma. Right? Once I consume that animal, which is a shlishi of chulin shenasu al taras truma, I am not permitted to eat truma. Okay. My kamashnas, what says what's the chiddush? We learned this already. Tanina, shlishi, sheni lekodesh, vein sheni letruma. So I say we learned this already once before. That halacha lemaisa shlishi has the ability to make a sheni lekodesh, but doesn't have the ability to make a sheni letruma. So what says? It says the Gemara. Says the Gemara, b'chulin shenasa taras truma. Because we're talking over here, I have a case of what? Of chulin that were prepared al taras truma. Sheni hu de lo havi. So we'll say ultimately again it doesn't become a sheni. Ha shlishi havi, but does have the ability to become a shlishi. So we'll say, so the point over here is we've learned this halacha before. So what's the chiddush? I'll tell you why. Imeahi, how we just learned that from this other source. Hava amina lo sheni havi v'lo shlishi havi. I would have thought to say that he doesn't become a sheni, he doesn't become a shlishi either. Va'idi da amar sheni b'kodesh, amar nami ein sheni b'truma. And I will say, since he said that ultimately, again, he creates a sheni b'kodesh, therefore he's just adding in over here that what? That there is no sheni by truma. Kamash malan, not that way. I will say, kamash malan, that halacha l'maisa, you can become a shlishi b'truma, and therefore, again, it is usher to eat. Right? I will say that halacha l'maisa, there is the concept, or there is the ability to become a shlishi even in a case of truma. Good. Eisvei Rav Hamnuna le'ula. So we'll say let's just go a little bit weiter. So Rav Hamnuna raised a kasha to ula. We'll say what was the kasha? Here we go. Harishon shebechulin tamei umetame. So we'll say ultimately again something that is a rishon by chulin has the ability to become tamei and to convey tuma. So look at Rashi for just a moment. Harishon shebechulin tamei umetame truma da'avadei sheni lifsal es hashlishi. So we'll say, so for example, again in a case, for example, chulin shenasa ataras truma, right? Ultimately, again, David sheni lifts al shlishi. So we'll say, so by rishon shebechulin, right? Rishon shebechulin, which means chulin prepared ataras truma. Rashi says, tamei umetame, have the ability to become tamei, and ultimately again be metame as well. So we'll say, so if you look again, at rishon shebechulin tamei metame truma, David sheni lifts al shlishi. Okay. So, sorry. Harisha shebechulim tamei u'metame v'hasheni posel ve'ema metame. Both the sheni has the ability to passel, but not convey tumah. Now, both say, if you remember again, we had this concept before of passeling something. I will say to passel something means the item is unfit, but it no longer has the ability to convey tumah in any way. So meaning at a certain point in time, the transference of tumah stops. You can't keep transferring tumah, but even sometimes at that last stage of tumah transference, as much as the tumah is too weak to pass on a tumah to anything else, the item itself still becomes pasul. I'm sorry. So Rishon Shebechulin Tamei and Metame. I'm supposed to say, here we go. Here's the question. So the Rishon Shebechulin is Tamei and Metame, has the ability to convey tumah. Vasheni, and I'm supposed to say the Sheni, Posel ve'ena Metame, has the, we'll say the sheni is itself pasul, but doesn't have the ability ultimately to transfer tumah. Vashlishi, and look at Rashi just a moment, poslas hatruma ve'inu matame, The shlishi b'truma lo avid. I will say because there is no such thing as a shlishi by truma. So I'm sorry, the shlishi the truma lo avid revi. Excuse me. That a shlishi by truma will say that does have the ability to make a revi. Hilchach shlishi the truma lo mikri tamei ela pasol. Therefore, I will say a shlishi in truma is not called tamei. I will say because to be called tamei, tamei usually has a double meaning. Number one, that you're tamei. Number two, that's what? That you have the ability to be metamei. Therefore, I will say there's a rishon by truma, there's a sheni by truma, there's a shlishi by truma, but a shlishi by truma ultimately is called pasol, is not called tamei. Why? Because it itself becomes tamei, but doesn't have the ability to confer or to convey tumah to something else. So it says the Gemara, vashlishi ne'echol b'nezid hadema. Rabbi says it's actually very interesting. And the shlishi can be consumed b'nezid hadema. Rabbi say, now what does this refer to? Look at Rashi. Ne'echol v'hashlishi shel chulin. So we'll say, so the shlishi of the chulin, right? Shenasa taras truma. So they could be eaten b'nezid hadema. Listen to this. Rashi says, first wide line Rabbi say in the bottom of Rashi. B'tavshil shetruma me'urevespo. So we'll say, this is talking about a food item, a dish in which truma is mixed into it. Kigon shlishi zeh im mikveh shel chulin mutar laseis lesochan tavlin shel truma. So we'll say, for example, if you have this shlishi, and let's say the shlishi, I will say some type of cooked dish of chulin, you could mix into it spices of truma. V'shum, v'shemed de truma. You can mix in garlic and oil of truma. Lo ochlo to eat it. Umediktani behu shlishi. Shmamina bechulin shnaso ataras truma kamar. V'katani ne'achal b'nezid. I'm supposed to listen to this. So if you have a shlishi of chulin shenasu ataras truma, a shlishi of chulin shenasu ataras truma, the halacha is, the Gemara is telling me now that I'm allowed to mix in truma spices to that, which I will say is quite dramatic. V'i amit nifsal gufo mile'echol b'truma. I will say, if you say that halacha l'maisa, if you consume a shlishi of chulin shenasa taras truma, that halacha l'maisa, if you consume that passes you from eating truma, then safina le'midi de pasa lehe legufa. Then I will say, would we go ahead and halacha l'maisa actively mix in truma ingredients to something which itself renders you unfit to eat truma? So we'll say what the Gemara is saying over here is as follows. You guys just got finished telling me that if something is a shlishi for chulin shenasu al taras truma, that if you consume that, Rabbi say halacha l'maisa, you cannot consume truma, then why in a million years would we allow you to mix in truma spices into a food item that is a shlishi of chulin shenasu ataras truma? To which the Gemara says, Amar lei, we'll say we'll finish with this for today. Hanach linazit hadema. Leave aside, I will say, this case of the chulin dish item in which you have truma spices mixed in. Why? Deleka top of lamed hey. Deleka kizayis b'chtei achilas pras. Because we'll say halacha l'maisa, the assumption is that when you are mixing in truma spices into this dish of chulin, Rabbi say, what don't you have? You do not have a kizayis of truma spices b'chtei achilas pras. So we'll say b'chtei achilas pras means, in general, for most ma'achalos asuros, if they are in a mixture, you are only chayiv for consumption if there is a kizayis of the forbidden item that will be consumed b'chtei achilas pras, and the amount of time that it takes you to eat a half a loaf. So I will say the assumption is that when you are mixing truma spices into this chulin dish, I will say, even though again there are truma spices there, and even though you're right, when a person is a shlishi for chulin shenasa taras truma, we don't let them eat truma because the spices are so mixed in and so diluted, they'll never be an isra achila because you'll never eat enough spices of it to make it a kizayis b'chtei achilas pras, and that's why ultimately it'll be permitted. I pick up every Mir Hashem tomorrow.